What's up, good people? How y'all doing this morning? Sucks waking up this morning and realizing how bad last night's game was. My voice is hoarse from the yelling and the talking and the greeting and everything else, and being out in the cold all day. And I have to get all the stuff that's on the truck off, so I'll be constantly reminded today about the game. And get all the coolers cleaned out and put back up in the attic till next season. I have to get the generator back this morning before 9, so I don't get charged for another day. And people will say, boy, all that work just to see the Cowboys lose. No. All that work to hang with my friends, which was priceless. I could have done twice the amount of work and still felt great about what we did. So salute to all you guys that were there suffering with the team that we love. I'm going to look at the bright side on things. That's what we do here. I am the glass half full guy. In fact, what I need to be doing this morning is I need to be using this coffee mug this morning. Shout out to the Glizzy coffee mug, okay? This is what I should be drinking from this morning. That game just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. They went to the Washington Commanders' house. My seat that I sat on was raggedy in the cold at the end of the season and got bitch slapped. But it just doesn't matter. And do you know why it just doesn't matter? Because the die was already cast. The games were already planned. There was nothing that the Cowboys could do to change where they were going to be playing. It just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. The die was cast. If you are a scripted believer, the narrative of Tom Brady never losing to the Dallas Cowboys was scripted from the beginning of the season. That it didn't matter that Dak Prescott was going to break his thumb. It didn't matter that Tyron Smith was going to get injured. It was all pointing to this opportunity for the NFL to put America's team, the most hated team, the most despised team, the most trashed upon team, the most money-making team in the limelight in the worst case scenario, looking like they're about to limp into the playoffs against Tom Brady, who's given up his family to be there. That the Dallas Cowboys would be the one and done January failures that they've always been. They will be the talk of the playoffs. So that game yesterday, it just doesn't matter. It just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. The Eagles, we knew that the New York stinking Giants weren't going to do the Dallas Cowboys a favor, to do them a solid, even with me bending the knee to cop pizzle. It just didn't matter. We knew that the Eagles bringing back Jalen Hurts and protecting him with a limited game plan, all they had to do was beat David Webb, Charlotte's Web, Spider Web, whatever the hell it is. It just didn't matter what was going to happen in that game. However, what did matter is, what matters is, the Commanders, left hand up, didn't do themselves any favor. They hurt their draft position. Maybe save Ron Rivera's job. That win, it mattered for the Commanders. Although they will have the bragging rights for the next offseason of saying, we beat you. That's something that the Giants can't say. And where it will matter is a longtime friend, Jim Bloom. Jim Bloom and I have a standing bet, even though Jim's been dead for probably about 10 years. He has a Washington Redskin seat cushion that is in my man cave. I have a Dallas Cowboy one. And it's kind of like the city of Winchester. The city of Winchester, Virginia, during the American Civil War, changed hands so many times, from being held by the Confederate States to being held by the United States, that the citizens of that city would wake up in the morning and have to look outside and see what flag was flying. And that, my friends, is what I have to do. Because the Commanders won that game, that seat cushion has to be in front of the Dallas Cowboys. So what matters is, until the Dallas Cowboys beat the left hands up, then I'm going to have to look at that Washington Redskin seat cushion. Because even though Jim is no longer here, I still have to honor my bet. Last night, a game that just doesn't matter. It just didn't matter. The Cowboys came out like it just didn't matter. They looked like there was no game plan, that there was no energy. The only thing that seemed like was a game plan was, let's see if we can get some of our players hurt before we go into the playoffs. Because it seems like the game plan just didn't matter. It seemed like getting into the playoffs healthy just didn't matter. Because seeing Dak Prescott running 2 quarterback sneaks against a really good Washington Commanders defensive front late in the fourth quarter, down by 3 scores, was ridiculous. This is one of those cases that you realize that we have Jekyll and Hyde coaches. We have the good coaches and the bad coaches. That sometimes they seem like freaking geniuses, and other times they seem like that little league football team with the guy who didn't really want to coach him, who doesn't really know what the hell he's doing. And you have to think that what matters now is what happens the next 7 days, 11 hours and 30 minutes. That will determine what happens with Mike McCarthy and crew. That you have to believe that if the Cowboys play Tom Terrific and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the same way they just played against the Commanders in a game that just didn't matter, the Cowboys will be looking for a new coach, and that matters. Yesterday was an abomination of a game. I tell you what, I saw one of the worst ass kicking jobs at that stadium. The same person I was talking about, Jim Bloom, who was dying from cancer. I ended up taking Jim to his first game at FedEx Field. Michael Vick, Eagles versus the Washington Redskins. And it was 28-0 early in the second quarter. Albert Hainsworth literally laid on the field. That game felt almost like the reverse for our Cowboys. It just seemed like to the players, it didn't matter. It seems like it might be that the coaches, it didn't matter. I don't know what happened last night, but that was an awful, awful game. But what I will say is, one thing about the Cowboys this year is when they lose a game, you notice the Cowboys have not been on a losing streak. They lose a game, they win 4 games. They lose a game, they win 4 games. We lost the game to the Jags, we won 2 games. For the most part, they've rebounded from losses. Everything that's happened from here before, at this point, it just doesn't matter. From this point forward, it matters. All right, good people. Get this generator in here. Do the walk of shame because they know I'm a Cowboys fan.